The night didn't start with a decision. It started with me not leaving. I didn't think about consequences. I didn't think at all. My name is Michael. And this was the week I stopped controlling what happened next. By Thursday, my body had stopped asking questions. It moved because it had to. Coffee became procedural. Emails blurred into intent without language. I noticed my reflection in the elevator mirror and didn't recognize the expression. Alert, but hollow, like something had been braced for too long. The office thinned early that night. A long meeting had been cancelled without explanation, and the calendar exhaled all at once. People gathered their things with relief that felt undeserved. The floor lights dimmed in stages, creating pockets of shadow that made the space feel segmented, private. I stayed, not out of urgency, out of momentum. When you're tired enough, stopping feels more dangerous than continuing. My laptop stayed open to a document I'd already finalized. I read it again anyway, scrolling slowly, correcting nothing. The hum of the building grew louder as voices disappeared. Somewhere, a printer finished a job no one would pick up until morning. That's when I noticed her silhouette at the far end of the floor, near the windows. Nina wasn't working. She wasn't leaving. She stood still, phone resting in her hand like it had finished being useful. I felt a small, disorienting click in my chest. The recognition that something was already in motion. I could have packed up. I could have closed the laptop and let the night end cleanly. Instead, I stayed where I was, letting the quiet stretch. Nina moved first. Not toward me, toward the conference rooms, the ones that looked out over the city like observation decks. She didn't look back to see if I followed. She didn't need to. I watched her go, the way you watch a door after someone closes it softly, aware that it can still be opened. I waited, long enough to make sure I wasn't reacting, long enough to give myself a final chance to choose differently. Then I stood. My footsteps felt too loud in the quiet corridor. I adjusted my pace slower, careful not to rush. Each step became a decision. Continue, pause, turn back. I kept going. The conference room lights were on when I arrived. Nina stood near the table, jacket off now, sleeves pushed up. The city beyond the glass looked suspended, light smeared by mist. She didn't ask why I was there. Sit, she said. It wasn't a command in tone. It was an assumption, one that rearranged the room. I sat, placing my laptop on the table without opening it. A signal, maybe, or a lie. You look tired, she said. I am, I replied. The honesty surprised me. She nodded, as if that confirmed something she'd already decided. Good. The word didn't comfort me. It focused me. Nina moved around the table, stopping beside the window. She didn't sit. She stayed standing, which shifted the balance immediately. I became aware of my posture, the angle of my shoulders, the way my hands rested too neatly. You don't have to be here, she said, looking out at the city. No one's expecting anything else from you tonight. The door was visible in the reflection of the glass. Open, available. I know, I said. She turned then, her gaze steady. You're not thinking anymore. It wasn't an accusation. It was a diagnosis. I felt it land in my body before I could argue. The familiar mental scaffolding, the analysis, the forecasting had thinned. What was left was sensation, timing, reaction. I'm just tired, I said, though I knew that wasn't all of it. Nina stepped closer, not rushing. She stopped at the edge of my personal space and stayed there, letting the proximity exist without comment. Tired people stop pretending, she said. The room felt smaller, or maybe my awareness had narrowed. I realized then that I was no longer leading this interaction. I hadn't been for a while. The recognition didn't panic me. It relieved me. Nina shifted first. Not closer, sideways, a half step that changed the geometry of the room. Her shadow moved across the table, stretched by the city light behind her. I followed it without meaning to. My chair creaked as I adjusted. Too fast. A reflex. I caught myself mid-movement and stilled again, but the damage was done. I'd reacted before I'd thought. She noticed. "You can leave," she said quietly, like an option that was already expiring. The door was still visible in the glass. The handle caught a line of light, a clear path, a clean ending. I pushed my palms flat against the table and stood, not to leave, just to stand. The movement surprised me. My body had decided something my mind hadn't approved yet. Blood rushed, grounding me in the moment, pulling me fully into the room. Nina turned towards me now, fully. "No hurry. You're not steady," she said. "I'm fine," I answered too quickly. "Another tell." She stepped closer, one step, then stopped. Close enough that the space between us felt charged, specific. I could hear her breathing now, slow, unbothered. Mine wasn't. I shifted my weight back. The chair behind me bumped my leg, a soft impact. A reminder that I was no longer positioned to leave easily. That's when it landed. I wasn't leading this anymore, and I didn't reach for the door. Nina reached past me, not to touch me, to close the door. The click of the latch landed heavy, immediate. The sound didn't echo. It absorbed. I turned my head toward it instinctively. Too late. The room was sealed. She didn't look at me. She walked to the light panel and turned it down, not off, just low enough that the room softened, edges blurring. The city glow took over, reflections multiplying in the glass. She came back and stopped directly in front of me. I took a step back. My calf hit the chair again. I didn't move it away this time. She lifted her hand, not to my face, to the space just beside it, close enough that my breath shifted. I leaned forward a fraction without deciding to. That was it. The point of no return. Not because she touched me, because I didn't stop myself from moving. The room held that moment. My body angled towards hers. The door closed, the light low, the decision already made in muscle before thought could intervene. Nina stayed there, letting it register, letting me feel exactly where I was. And the world narrowed to proximity and breath and the quiet certainty that whatever happened next was no longer something I was managing. The lights went out completely, and the night took over. Morning arrived without ceremony. I woke to my alarm as if nothing unusual had occurred. My body felt heavy, recalibrated, like it had been reset without my permission. At the office, everything looked the same. People arrived with coffee, complained about traffic, resumed their routines. The conference room stood empty, neutral, as if it hadn't held anything private hours before. Nina passed me once in the hallway. She didn't slow, didn't look at me. Her presence was composed, distant, professional. We didn't speak. The absence of acknowledgement felt deliberate, a boundary restored, but altered. I sat at my desk and opened my laptop. My work felt sharper, cleaner. Decisions came faster. I didn't question them. Late morning, Laura called me into her office. The conversation was efficient, framed by performance metrics and recent wins. "We're promoting you to content lead," she said, effective immediately. The words landed with weight, but no joy. I thanked her, accepted, asked the right questions. Laura smiled, satisfied. You've earned this. Across the open floor afterward, I felt eyes on me. Congratulations, murmured. A shift in how people addressed me. Nina didn't react. She didn't need to. The contrast unsettled me. The private loss of control paired with public validation. The system had moved quickly, decisively, without hesitation. That evening, alone again, I understood what had happened. Not the details, not the mechanics, the alignment. I had broken my own rules, the ones about restraint, about control, about keeping everything separate and manageable. And the system had rewarded me immediately. The timing was too precise to ignore, and yet there was nothing to connect. No evidence, no conversation, just cause and effect that refused to explain itself. The night remained unspoken, untouched by daylight, but it had changed the shape of everything. The system rewarded me on the day I broke my own rules.